Dating Doc Podcast, and I am healthy, still kicking, still giving you that good material. This podcast, we're going to talk about the importance of learning someone at the core level and how I'm going to connect that to a very hot Netflix documentary that's out right now. Also, the importance of investments. If you don't invest now, you're going to look like a dud later, and so much more information. Stay tuned. So I was watching the trial of Gabriel Fernandez, very heartbreaking documentary currently on Netflix. It's about 6 episodes. It's a limited series, each episode running anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. And it's depicting the life of an 8-year-old, I believe from around the Palmdale, California area, LA area, who was tragically tortured and eventually murdered by his own mom and the mom's boyfriend. Now, this is something that happened back in 2012, 2013, and what you have is kind of a sequential description of everything that happened, right? From the abuse, from the system that failed him, right, including social workers, including the LAPD, investigators, and family members that regret not being there, not being involved. How do I find relevancy, right? What does this all mean? Why am I bringing this up when it comes to a dating podcast? For 2 reasons. First off, you really never know what you see on the surface versus what's really happening at the core with a person or relationship. So take, for example, a couple who may have a healthy relationship going on, church-going couple. They're both doing well in their careers, beautiful children, perfect white picket fence house, and the one dog and whatnot, right? And that's kind of the picture-perfect couple. Then fast forward and you find out news about, and this is a legit story, so I'm kind of summarizing it because I don't have all the specific details, but a dad who is a church leader, and unfortunately he ends up locking his own car and pouring gasoline on his daughters and his wife, and then runs from the car, lights the car on fire. So tragically, the daughters pass away. The wife exits the vehicle screaming in pain. She's taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, he's stabbing himself in the wrist. He ends up passing away. She had just enough time in the hospital to speak with authorities and basically say, hey, I'm confessing to the crime. This is what this guy was doing. This is what happened. And then she passes away. Again, the picture perfect family, which you would call, great, good old America, good American Pie type family. And unfortunately that happened. And inverse, you may have a couple that they show up in a Harley together to a bar or somewhere else. And maybe they might be tatted up, wearing leather jackets, and they look kind of little bit rough around the edges. But what you don't know is that they're very loving. They very smart aleck around each other. They volunteer. They help out veterans. They're the kind of person that would take the shirt off your back and give it to you. But again, they look a little bit rough around the edge. Maybe not as clean cut as the first example I used. So it all goes back to learning a person at the core. Gabriel Fernandez's mom, unfortunately, she suffered from her own upbringing. Everything from drug use before the age of 9, molestation happening from within the family. She had all kinds of cognitive learning disabilities, and that kind of led to a little downward spiral on her part, to where she became very narcissistic. She came out a good-looking woman, and she used that to her advantage. So when she met Mr. Aguirre, then he was under the impression that he would not meet another woman as good looking as her, or end up dating someone as good looking as her. So he was under her narcissistic control. Meanwhile, this 8-year-old kid, full of innocence and happiness, is getting beaten and tortured, even though he shows up to school, being one of the happy, friendly kids. You have to discover people at their core. So the guy or gal that might seem like they have it all together, they may have it all together on the surface. They may dress apart. They may have a nice car, a nice house. And by the time we really get to know the person, we find out that they're actually very passive aggressive, right? At the lightest example, I'm talking like stage 1, nothing crazy, right? They're passive aggressive. You find out all the money's been inherited from parents. They really have no drive. You find out they're a player, right? And then the person who was a little bit rough around the edges might be the right person. Now, with anything I say, don't take it universal, okay? There's some people that they look rough around the edge, and they are rough around the edge at the core. Or some people that have their life together, and they have the life together at the core. But a lot of us don't go deeper, right? We get stuck with the surface stuff. Hey, this person looks good. Or you normally tell your friends how good they look and what they do for a living. But who are they as a person? That's really what matters. And I'm going to give you some examples of some questions you could ask, right? So I always ask, what is your relationship like with your family? If they have a bad relationship with their family, that doesn't mean it's all on them, right? There's two sides to every story. Maybe they grew up in a tough household and they've learned to avoid toxic behavior, or they're the ones initiating toxic behavior, right? So I always ask, hey, how'd you grow up? And look for body language too, right? Again, don't categorize or label them as being an issue. Just hear them out, learn them, right? Another thing is ask them, hey, if you ever get in an argument, like, how do you deal with conflict? Like, tell me the real truth. Like, how do you deal with conflict? And you can even provide examples. Just tell them, look, are you a smart ass? Do you shut down? Just tell me the truth. Just encourage them to tell you exactly how they deal with conflict. They'll be able to, without hesitation, they should be able to tell you, yeah, I scream or I shut down. Again, learning that they shut down, this could be based on experience, or that they scream could be a learned behavior, right? So these are things that you need to learn, and learn what you can accept and what not accept. Do not treat someone like a project, especially if they've already hit the threshold where they're just legit dangerous, whether mentally dangerous or physically dangerous, right? Another question to ask is, what's the best way you show love, right? Whether it's 5 love languages of love, right? Whether they show it through physical touch, whether they show it through sense of humor, whether they show it through being a good listener. These are things that, again, without them hesitating too much, it lets you know a little bit about them. Lets you know, okay, cool. Like, they have a capacity to love, and they automatically know how to express that, and that's important. So this is how it all ties in. Is learn people at the core, because if you don't, by the time that you've accepted them because of what they do or what they look like, it might be too late. And especially if they're mentally dangerous, you might be already wrapped up in their web. You don't want that. So stay strong, folks. Really get to know people, and it'll pay off in the end. I think I'm going to have to cancel our date. Some of that bat soup. Oh, COVID-19 craziness. It is March 13 as at the time of this recording. What's going to happen? Look, people called it. They were joking about it around January. They said, every 100 years, something about like, I saw a meme. It was like the Spanish flu, happened like, 1810. I don't know, 1910, something else. Then 2010, now 2020. And we got an outbreak. And it reminds me that, man, life is a pattern. Life is a cycle. The world revolves and it's a geometrical formula, and things come back and things go away. But such is life. We're going to bounce back. Right now, there's a lot of mass hysteria. People buying toilet paper when they could just be, buying wipes, make sure they really get that booty clean. I don't know what's going on. A lot of the ones that are passing away from the COVID-19 coronavirus are the elderly. Yet for some reason, it seems like all we want to do is just hoard products and take more than what we need. And, I'm not scared of one person. I'm scared of people. The mass hysteria of people, the mob. We're selfish to the bone, and it's evident from what you see out there. People just are like, hey, screw everyone else. Even if it took a team to find a cure, to get all this going, they're like, I'm going to buy what I need, forget you. And that's kind of the world we live in. Not to mention the social isolation, which, some of y'all were already prepared for, right? Some of the ones that stay at home a lot. Netflix is going to be, they're going to be, you're going to be earning your Netflix membership or whatever streaming service you watch. Who knows? Maybe now you can get a date going where you can say, hey, instead of us going out to the bars, because, it's kind of unsafe, let's stay at the house. Let's have a good time at the house, We don't want to get sick. That might be a technique. Well, let me know what you guys think. If this COVID-19 deal is going to pass soon. And what I mean by soon is anywhere from the next month to maybe 3 months max. Or if it's something that, it's the end of the world, Armageddon, and we need to buy all the toilet paper in the world. What you guys think? Now, we talked on our last podcast about how you need to be healthy, right? So this one, we need to talk about wealth, okay? We need to talk about, particularly right now in this moment, you need to buy low right now, all right? If you do not have an IRA or 401, you need to get on it, okay? I repeat, if you don't have any kind of investment past your savings and checking account, you're wrong. You're losing out on money that could exponentially grow. Even though right now things are kind of at a standstill because of this virus. Now is the time to take advantage. So go out there, go to your bank and set you up an IRA. Okay? IRA specifically made, especially a Roth IRA, specifically made for your retirement, right? There's no penalties if you draw after, I believe, 69 and a half, and you can put in up to $6,000 a year. And this grows every single year. Even though the market will go down, go up, instead of you wasting that cash on a sports car or going out and about, set some money aside, get you an IRA. This advice is prime. It is prime for those in their 20s. You are not taking advantage of life if you don't save right now at the moment, especially if you're in your young 20s. All right? You're going to thank yourself later. Because what happens is you're going to meet the right kind of guy or guy or gal, you're going to try to build a future with them eventually. And you got nothing saved up and things go bad, and all of a sudden you got to tap into something, but you're too busy wasting money on, all these trips to Turks, Cabo, wherever you go, and then all these expensive wine bottles and all those trips to the IMAX theater add up, and then all of a sudden you got nothing to show for it. So why do that when you could have a little kingdom to yourself, right? And if you're an active trader, get on it, right? Whether it's crypto, whether you want to invest in biomedical companies right now because they might be the ones that come up with a cure. Shoot, I'm not even sure if Purell is a publicly traded company, Johnson & Johnson, but get on that, because right now I'm sure they're making buku money off of this virus. Anything that seems like a crisis is a perfect time for opportunities to sprout out of them. And I don't say that as a blind optimist. I say that with full reality. In any kind of crisis, there's an opportunity out there, right? So this is a perfect time for you to save some of that cash and put it in the right place, okay? If you don't, you're going to regret it later. If you do, you've built a future for yourself. Get on it. Save that cash. Ladies and gentlemen, I've heard it all when it comes to dating. I've heard everything from, I'm so tired of dating. I keep attracting the wrong people. I don't know what I'm saying, whether it's online or offline dating. I don't know what I'm doing during a first date. I lead with too much pride or fear. Here's the deal. If you're hearing this, you're talking to a dating coach. This is what I do, right? Think of me as a personal trainer mixed with a financial advisor. You combine that and you get a guy with tough love. Again, it's all love. So here's the deal. You can either sit on the sidelines and keep doing the same thing you're doing, or you can work with me. Don't worry about the cost, right? You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to cost a lot to work with him. This is what I want you to do. Just make the first step. Contact me and just say, hey, look, what's the deal? How much is it going to cost? And this is what I'm going through right now in dating world, Chris. 2 ways you can contact me. You can send me a DM through Instagram, The Dating Doc. Again, that's The Dating Doc. Or you can shoot me a text and I'm going to respond. Area code 210-664-0192. That's area code 210-664-0192. Hit me up, all right? Are you going to make excuses and keep doing what you're doing? Or are you going to make the effort and making changes and leveling up as a person? The Dating Doc, the cure for the common date.